thank yous, and they are important. Um, it helps when people don't basically use you as their ragging post. You guys know what that is, right? You have a bad day, you fucking hate your neighbors, you got an expensive fine, whatever. You got somebody that you just go and talk shit on all those people too, whether it's right or wrong. Hopefully, you got to hear the way those people spoke to me. It's hard for me not to speak that way too. I'm not really an outspoken guy. I just can't stand to see people hurt. Let me show you what I've been working on real quick. See if I can make this work. So we'll break this down. This is from July 11th, 2015 at 9:24 a.m. If you notice, these are all from Alicia Bollinger. Um, after after Laura Nelson taught me how to take screenshots, I screenshotted every goddamn thing I could. I'd been trying to learn how to do that for over a year. You know, the whole stalking people. No, we were friends. Pretending that I'm delusional by saying we were friends. No, this is Alicia Bollinger. This is Natalie's twin sister. I had to take this after her death, and this is after she was blocked. And you might notice in some of the ones with Alicia and other files, it's a situation where she kept on unblocking me and then blocking me again. So her ex stepmoms did that a lot more than she did. They kept on playing victim and fucking then unblocking to go look for something they could pretend I'm a horrible person with. It was just stupid. But you'll notice the shapes on these. You get to see how there's an overlap on every single one of them. So they can be read in order. And what I need, preferably, is somebody to read it with me. Alicia's, Natalie's, and Maddie Boa's. Preferably a female, that way it's easy to discern between who's saying what. Now let's break this down. She typed, Natalie needs to leave Colorado. As nice as it is and whatnot, it's not good for her. It's not good for me because of my addictions. That's why I'm not there. Natalie is strong, but she needs to get better. I think her leaving will help her, even if it's only for a little bit. Like I said, I knew about their addictions. I try to be patient and kind with people who are addicts. But it's completely different helping addicts and being dependent upon drug addicts because you are a disabled person who's on the streets. People in houses just don't give a shit. They just as soon pretend that you're a drug addict. Meanwhile, Natalie and Alicia, not fucking homeless. Well, let's read this. I typed back, I agree. I had to leave too. No addictions, just a bunch of dicks. Mostly it was cops. And of course, after I fucked up my back, my friends basically threw me away because they thought I was useless. And I couldn't carry my backpack, and I was stuck with it everywhere I went until I could find a way to get out to storage, which was way more than a block. It was more like, I don't know, 2 or 3 miles. So I typed back to her, I agree, I had to leave too. No addictions, just a bunch of dicks. Honestly, I'm just glad you got her. I like to be the superhero, but I think you are a lot stronger a figure as her sister. Stick together and don't give up. Your sister is a wonderful person, and I'm glad she came back into my life. I want a family of my own, never had one, just druggies and thieves. You are lucky to have, and you get to see there's a lot more. So, who is my family? Who is it that in my life ever represented family? That would be Zyler and Jamie, for sure. And that would be right around Christmas time, sitting on the bar stools, drinking coffee. Uh, God, that was probably the best time of my life. Um, we had a wonderful little spaz come up and give us all sorts of attention. I had a young man who was not mine that was the best part of my life ever. Apparently, I just got a message of some sort. The reason that that was taken after Natalie was killed isn't just because I didn't know how. I'd spent money, a lot of money, on getting people to teach me how, to get them to spend the time, and then they spent the money and said, "Well, can't you figure it out for yourself?" So it makes it complicated. So the picture on the front of this is obviously the same thing, and there's the fact that there's so many of them. There's the stuff between me and Alicia. There's the stuff between me and Maddie Boa. There's the stuff between Tim Beeson and I. There's also, uh, give me 1 second. All right, just got myself some milk delivered. And I do literally mean milk. I love milk. Sorry for pausing for a second. That'll probably lose some viewers. That's all right, though. We're not after a whole bunch of views. We just got to find the right person. The kind of person who's going to look at this stuff and go, holy fuck. You know? The situation with Natalie and Alicia, and I'll read this. It's complicated. It always is. Family dynamics are complicated. They always are. Sometimes you run into somebody who's like minded or somebody who needs the same kind of help you do. Sometimes you just need a friend, and that's it. For me, the people that I considered family were Jamie and the boy, my older brother, and Natalie. That's it. Now, I don't know how to explain to you guys that it didn't matter how good of a person that I was. It didn't matter. It didn't matter how hard I worked. It didn't matter how many blankets I passed out to alcoholics and drug addicts. It didn't matter how many times I woke them up before the cops did so they wouldn't get a ticket. It didn't matter how many people I walked through the snow to warming center after warming center or homeless shelter after, well, we only had one homeless shelter. Sometimes I had to try to find halfway houses for idiots, but I've never found a halfway house in Boulder with an idiot. Like, okay, you're drunk and you're staying at a halfway house and now you have to find your way home. Yeah, you're not the brightest. It happens. Now, of course, with Natalie and Alicia Bollinger, before, when they were a part of my life, here's exactly how it went. Derek Parrish is hanging out. Those girls show up and they want to hang out with Derek. They start talking, I start leaving. Or Derek's not there and they want to come up and talk to me. No, I don't want to hang out with you. Please go away. I did try to talk to Abel Ramos, who was an officer, and he said, Sean, I can't do anything about any of this. I thought that was a sad way to put it. But that was very specifically over Maddie Boa getting the shit beat out of her by her fucking dad. So she come down to Pearl Street, well, down to the library. A little messed up, a little worse for the wear, but not too bad. I mean, she definitely got beat up the way that a guy beats up a girl, not the guy beats up a guy. If that happened, she probably would not have gone anywhere. But that's not the point. Whether it was a little bruise or a little smack, what the hell's it for? If you don't like the fact that your daughter's a lesbian, that doesn't give you the right to fucking smack them around. Now, the thing with Maddie Boa being a lesbian, a lot of people may have had a problem with that, but lucky for her, she lives in Boulder, Colorado, and in Boulder, Colorado, it is okay to be gay. Here's the difference between Chapel, Nebraska and Boulder, Colorado. In Chapel, Nebraska, they go, hey. In Boulder, Colorado, they go, hey. If you don't get the joke, well, you're not from Boulder, because reality is that's actually not a joke. That's a mecca for people with alternate lifestyles. And that's what we were supposed to call it there for like a few years. And that's something that's regional, because that was one of those big things that just didn't catch on. They're not gay, they're not trans, they're alternate lifestyle. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm gonna go sleep in my bush. I actually lost my virginity under a grate over by the First United Methodist Church in Boulder, Colorado. And I was 33. The thank yous I got to give out. Well, you know, there's a couple of people that I saw today that they knocked their shit off. I guess it's the only way to say it nicely. They knocked their shit off. Hopefully they see my videos and understand that it's not a matter of hatred. It's not a matter of vengeance. It's not a matter of any of that. It's they fucking threatened my goddamn family, motherfuckers, and then one of them ended up dead. Whether we're friends or not at that point doesn't fucking matter. It's still someone I care about. And the bullshit that people wanted to put me through, you know, for the first 6 months after the bullshit with Natalie, not being able to see my friends, not being able to see my family, not being able to go to Boulder without having to try to explain something to somebody who's in a hurry because they're going to get some drugs. Doesn't know where my brother's at, doesn't know where Mobley's at. By the way, Mobley's dead, so it doesn't fucking matter, does it? His real name was Stephen McMillian. He was a hell of a guy. He headbutted the girl I lost my virginity to. No joke. He was tripping balls and thought he saw a demon in her. She thought he was my brother. God damn the shit that went down there. So when I knew Natalie and Alicia, I wasn't allowed to run them off, so I had to leave. That's basically what it equates to, which is fine. I'd rather be at Starbucks on my computer. If I'm on my computer, I can learn something. Even if I can't have my tools in my hand and be building something to make the world a better place, at least I'm learning, well, a little bit of Japanese handcrafts or house building or anything. I just love to build stuff. No, we got our stalkers back in the comment section, of course. We got to be used to those by now. Years of that. you guys get to see that a lot of these people, like Cara Rogers, aka Cara Mia, and Aaron Cockerham, they really exist. They were also the ones, for example, Aaron Cockerham introduced herself as Layla Johnson's sister, and this is just some made up profile that stole somebody else's face. And this was done to me a few times before Natalie was killed. People were also getting a hold of me and sending me messages in, like, for example, Riley Johnson. He was known as Samurai, even though he was a white guy, in Boulder, Colorado. And he was a really bad alcoholic. He moved to Hawaii. And last time I actually spoke with him, I was at Mandy Singer's house. She's the one who I made a missing persons video about her son missing. I'm getting ready to go to bed. But you never know when you're going to have a heart attack, an aneurysm, or someone's going to put a bullet in your head. Life happens. There was a feller who got on here and he asked me if I was fearless, and no, not even close. I don't fucking fear death, but like, who should? If it happens, it happens. No, I fear for my loved ones. I fear for my family. When Alicia Bollinger went missing, you goddamn right. When people got a hold of me and said Alicia's missing, I fucking spoke out immediately. She went on a high-speed chase with her dad. It was in K County News. It was also in several other news situations. The first article that they wrote said that Ted Bollinger was busted with 18 grams of methamphetamines, which is quite a bit. They were awaiting extradition from Kansas to Oklahoma. One of the inmates in Oklahoma got a hold of me and let me know that Ted Bollinger's out to kill me. Now, there was a while there that I didn't get any harassment from the, what was it, Ted Turner, Fred Berner type accounts. And apparently he goes to jail from time to time. It happens. But if you look at the dates, they were adults when we actually became friends. Before, when they were a part of my life, it was just like anybody else that was a part of my life at that point in time. My life was Starbucks until I was able to get something going. But the thing is, I needed a safe place to do anything. It wasn't exactly fun. Whenever I was trying to educate myself, people wouldn't understand that I'm trying to get an education and I'm reading some pretty important stuff. You know, they want to come talk to me and tell me about all their problems. Like, shit, I'm in Starbucks. I have to be nice to people. And I don't mind. I mean, I'm naturally not an asshole. I'm just blunt. But I'm really good at listening, so people don't expect blunt out of me. No, I don't do drugs. Yes, I do smoke pot. No, I don't want to. It doesn't do anything for me. Well, that's not true. It doesn't do anything positive for me. I mean, you shouldn't have to smoke fucking pot or do drugs to get help as a homeless person. That's stupid. That is the stupidest goddamn thing ever. And you look around at the homeless people that are getting any kind of help whatsoever, it's drug addicts who are taking forever to get help themselves. It's because once they get help, once they get housing, once they get actually on their feet, you know, a lot of times they just overdose once they get into housing. That's a sad thing to see. I mean, that's what happened to Christine Bouhit. She got into housing and she decided that she was going to destroy all the evidence of the situation with her account and the Natalie Bollinger situation. She was afraid of losing housing. She didn't care who was hurt. She just didn't want to lose her housing. She didn't care if people approached my little sister or my niece. She didn't care if people threatened to kill Zyler or Jamie. It just didn't matter to her. Ken Wilson and Leatha Plunkett, they were supposedly going to help me, but it ended up being a situation where everybody's got to do what Leatha says. That's Leatha Plunkett. That's her real name. She wasn't a very nice person. She talked nice if she got what she wanted. If she didn't get what she wanted, she was mean. Not a happy place. So I wanted to make sure that I said thank you to Cynthia, and thank you to her husband, thank you to her daughter. I want to say thank you to Lori, and I want to say thank you to Angie. And of course, there's a bunch of other people to say thank you to as well. A lot of those people are angry with me, and regardless of that, I got the information out of them that I needed. I got the evidence out of them that I needed. So even getting ripped off, it's still money well spent. Speaking of, if there's anybody in Tillamook who you tell yourself, man, I'm tired of all those drug addicts getting all this free shit and still being out here. They're getting opportunities like you wouldn't believe. Sure, $20 an hour ain't shit. But goddamn, I'd sure like to see that money more than somebody who's a drug addict. You know, I'm hoping there's one of them type of folks who says, you know what, between paying somebody $1,000 to make a 20-minute fucking phone call, shit, I'd have done it for 500. Of course, somebody else would do it for 250. That's what I keep getting told. Well, if somebody would do it for 250, somebody would do it for 125. If somebody would do it for 125, somebody would do it for 70. Yeah, but how long do I have to wait? How long do I have to wait for somebody to actually do that? Sometimes you got to make it a gross, enormous sum because you need them to understand, hey, I need you to stop fucking around. Okay, you see this shit that's going on right here? Yeah, we need to turn that in. If I show you that somebody's assaulting me and that they've been doing so for years, that they've been stalking me, they've been doing so for years, that they're not following the stalking protection order, please understand that. Please understand that people getting a hold of me and sending me messages that say that they're going to dismember my niece and send pictures of their cock in her open-gutted rib cage, which literally you can see that those things are on my channel. People have been sending me those things. I want you to keep in mind, there's a lot of those folks. A lot of them. Is there any good people? That's the real question. It's not that drug addicts don't want to be good people or aren't even trying to be good people. It's that their addictions get in the way. I can't stop that. I grew up with a family of addicts. I can't change their decisions. I can't snap my fingers and get them clean. That's not how the world works. I also absolutely know the risks. You know, I never wanted to go into childcare. The reason that I never wanted to go into childcare is because of all the guys on TV growing up that were involved in childcare crap, like doing illegal shit. I don't want to be associated with anything like that. That's fucking gross. After growing up in the system and enduring what I've endured, yeah, there's just certain things I'm not okay with, like swapping snot with another person, and that's basically what sex is, or any other derivative of it. I don't want to swap fluids. That's gross. Not trying to be rude. I get a lot of crap because I was friends with people who were adults. When Natalie and Alicia were kids and they wanted to come around, and they decided one night that they were going to stay the night. One of them was in a sleeping bag with a man who was much older than her, much older, named Emery. And the other one, his name was Arturo. And yeah, that wasn't okay. That was the last time that I saw either one of those two girls for at least 3 or 4 years. I told them to go home and not come back. I also told Emery and Arturo to go home and not come back. I knew that they didn't have a home, but I don't care. What they did is not okay. Natalie and Alicia kept saying stuff like, you thought something happened that didn't happen. No, I didn't. I didn't assume anything other than what I saw, which is grown men in sleeping bags with underage girls. Whether you had your clothes on or clothes off, I don't care. What you're doing is illegal. It's immoral. It's not okay. If need be, let those two girls sleep in a sleeping bag together for warmth. That's fine. One of you guys sleep in a sleeping bag for half the night, the other one take a shift, and keep eyes out. Don't be fucking stupid. Yeah, that was the last time I saw him until, I want to say, fuck, I wouldn't even know. I'll have to check the message that I got because that'll tell me the exact day. Well, within a day. Usually when someone says to get a hold of them and gives me a piece of paper, usually I do get a hold of them. Just force a habit, I guess. Or at least make an effort. And if they don't message me back, I don't fucking care. I got other shit going on. I'm not trying to be an asshole about it. Like when I saw Natalie and Alicia with Emery and Arturo, I didn't even know their fucking names. That's how well I knew them. I didn't even know their fucking names. Now this part here, this is from after they became adults. I'd sent them each one message. I didn't know how old they were. I just knew that it had been years since I saw them, and they were walking down the street with a couple of older gentlemen. Now, tell me that doesn't establish a pattern. Turns out that Natalie and Alicia were only 17 at the time, and hold your horses before you go pretending this is some sort of stalking thing. No. They came up to me one night. I was sitting over by one of the banks, and they came over and saw me and recognized me. And I don't know which one it was that ran up and gave me a hug because I didn't know their fucking names. I just knew I hadn't seen them in years. So she ran up and she gave me a hug, and they insisted they both give me their information and that I send them a message on Facebook. I sent them each one message and forgot they existed. Not to be an asshole, but just, you know how life is. You get fucking busy. You meet a lot of people, whatever. I still got to eat. I still got to make sure I get to work. I got to fucking stay up until 3 o'clock in the morning passing out blankets. Because if I stay up any later than 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm not going to get any sleep. And if I don't stay up until at least 3 o'clock in the morning, then I'm probably going to get fucked with by the police before they go on shift change. So, there's a lot of shit going on in my life. And these guys think it's okay. These officers thought, well, gee, this dude's homeless. Let's just fuck with him. His back is messed up. Let's just fuck with him. I'm like, Jesus, man. And I was trying to let my friends know what was going on, but my back was fucked up, so I couldn't do anything for them anymore. So they basically thought I existed, and the only time they messaged me was when I was having a mental breakdown on fucking Facebook because I had nobody to talk to. Most of the people that came to talk to me for like 6 months were schizophrenics. So then Natalie Bollinger walks in one day, right? And I've seen, it was either her or her twin sister Alicia talking to Pierre one day, He's another guy that was out there that shouldn't have been. Liked to play guitar and chase skirts. And Natalie and Alicia, they were both bisexual. So, I mean, it's not like, there's some horrible conspiracy against gay people or straight people or any stupid shit like that. Like, I've heard so many crazy conspiracy theories out of people about Natalie, but no, her family was shit. The side of the family that helped her get the protection order is the dad's side of the family. The motherfuckers I exposed with her words. Yeah, how many dads have gone to fucking prison because their daughters told on them for being too friendly? Go ahead. Go ahead and explain that shit to me. Well, a lot of these Natalie sites want to use that, and they don't want to tell you where it came from, do they? Just like the screenshot on the front of this from Alicia Bollinger. Well, Tim Beeson talks about how he saved every word. Well, you know what? I may have been slow on the start because I didn't know what I was doing, but I caught up quick. Every word from Tim Beeson between he and I. Well, at least everything in messaging and typing. Same thing with Alicia Bollinger. Same thing with Maddie Boa. Same thing with Pierre. Same thing with all the folks that were involved in this before Natalie was killed. There was about 40 people overall that were involved in the stalking and harassment. And there was about 5 or 6 people overall that let me tell them a little bit about what was going on for a few minutes. And that's all I got. Anyway, it's been a long day. I was able to get a lot of the evidence together so I could show the crimes committed by Deputy Martinez and how they prevented me immediately after getting the protection order against Andrew Wolnez. He immediately prevented me from having any action taken. The police have repeatedly done that. And unfortunately, I'm not the person that they've done this to. Someone typed that they reported that fake account. They don't care, dude. That's the thing. I mean, I've got thousands of screenshots from these people. That guy, his main account is IXUTH or IXUTH666. I mean, these guys are my regulars, folks. These guys started off in the Natalie Bollinger groups, some of them. The main guy, he calls himself Shapeshift. He's the first dude to really, really start harassing me, pretending he's going to be a nice guy, then harassing me, then pretending he's going to be a nice guy. He was actually watching when I was showing the situation where my little sister's friend, Ed, had erased an entire computer full of evidence. The whole fucking thing. Like, oh my God, dude. This is probably like the worst fucking thing that could have happened right now. I mean, I immediately started thinking about ways of leaving this world quick. Jesus, man, like, oh my God. But you also get to see that schizophrenic drug addicts are pretty much the only people who give a fuck, and they only give a fuck when you got something for them. This person calling himself, I don't know, my eyes are blurry, I'm tired. Typed, he seemed to be mocking your disability. Well, whatever, it's fine. I'm used to it. I grew up with Tourette syndrome, and I grew up with Asperger's, and I grew up with PTSD. People pick on you. It happens. There's a big difference between picking on you and putting their hands on you. There's a big difference between making fun of somebody just in a teasing fashion, a friendly teasing fashion, like calling your brother a meathead, you know. Oh well, you're just being friendly a little bit. Some families are like that. Sometimes you get a friendly reminder from an uncle or an aunt that's like that, somebody who's sarcastic and loudmouth, but still loving and caring. Um, Before all this bullshit with Natalie happened, I had a couple of people describe me differently. But one of my friends said, if if I was deaf, I'd think you were a saint, and if I was blind, I'd think you were Satan. That's because if he was blind, he'd just hear my mouth, and I'm pretty fucking foul-mouthed. Kind of degenerative, I guess. If that makes you feel better to hear. But if you see things that I do 2 or 4 people, that's a different story. A lot of people say they can't do anything. Well, what I need them to do is take the time to listen and look and turn it in with me, but they got to not be a coward. And also, they got to not be a drug addict. Alcoholics aren't any better. Anyway, I'm thankful for all the people that wanted to help and tried to help but didn't understand. I get their ideas that they keep having, they think are great ideas, but they don't know enough about the situation. And the more they learn about it, the more they realize how completely fucked a situation it is. Like, this is supposed to be the United States of America, land of the free, but in reality, no. Ain't nothing free about this.